I want to start with the name of Hoodle. Where did this come from? There's a different process entirely between buying a new home to build versus purchasing a home that's already in place. I'm already grasping it for what you're seeing because I see the issue already. Yeah. All right, welcome to ProTalks Contractor Discover. This is now episode number 4, switching lanes a little bit and stepping into a new topic of discussion. Our guest this week is Ron Williams. He is from Champaign, Illinois. He's in the real estate market, and he is the founder and creator of Hoodle.com, something I've mentioned on a previous episode, and now it's time to talk with him and talk about it. Welcome to the show, Ron.
Thank you very much.
We'll hand the floor to you immediately and let you give us a little backstory.
Okay. Well, where do you want to start?
Well, let's see. I want to know the question everybody else has asked me when I introduced you to them. Hoodle.com. I want to start with the name of Hoodle. Where did this come from? It's not Hooters. We learned that in the previous episode.
No, it's not. I tell you what, I'll tell you what it is, in a minute. But when I came up, when we first had a different name, which originally was going to be U.S. New Homes, and which was very much descriptive of what it was, all of the new homes in the United States. So, Hoodle is ultimately is becoming a go-to website for anybody that wants to build a new home, period. And, where they can find the neighborhoods, they can find the builders in whatever market. They can, differentiate between the builders and what they build and their floor plans and the neighborhoods that they build in and what's the difference between these neighborhoods and more. And so it really is about streamlining the process for the buyer, to make it easier for them to build a new home. And so we had the name U.S. New Homes, and kind of had that dialed in a little bit. And then one day I was like, that's kind of boring. I just, I started looking around and came up with the name of Hoodle. And I came in and told my team, I'm changing the name to Hoodle. I swear people were like falling off their chairs laughing. They're like, what the heck's a Hoodle? And, but what a Hoodle is, it's a mashup of the word. There's this little search engine you probably heard of, Google.
Heard of that somewhere.
Neighborhood. So it's a search tool for new home neighborhoods, Hoodle.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I never would have put it together without you.
Now I see it.
Yeah.
Fine.
But it makes perfect sense. You put Google and neighborhood, and there it is. So is that something you thought of on a whim, or did you sit at night in your bed and say, okay, what can I do? What can I create?
I studied it a little bit. Yeah. I studied it and came up with it. And, it took us years to be able to get the domain.
Really?
It's very hard to get a 2-syllable domain. People buy those and then they hold them, and they're very expensive to get.
Yeah.
And,
I can imagine.
It's kind of funny because, back then everybody's like, well, what the heck's a Hoodle? And now it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Like I've been spitting out that name here for a couple of months since I've learned of it. And I never once asked anyone, what is Hoodle? I've had other people ask me that, and I didn't have the answer. So yeah, Hoodle. And it is, and it rings well. I like it.
Well, thank you.
So let's go jump right into it. What is Hoodle, and who's it for?
So what this is, maybe the best thing of it, can I tell you where it came from, how it started?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, to get the backstory so we all kind of see where it came to be and what purpose will it serve.
So Paul, I was I was a realtor for a number of years, and I specialized in new construction. That's all I did, in my local area here. And when I got into selling new homes, I started to find out that there was some problems, and I didn't realize how big the problems were at the time. It was just like kind of a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
You know, but you couldn't find. So here I was a realtor. No, I don't live in a big area. I mean, this is no Atlanta, you know, or you know, big city. But even still, I couldn't find many of the neighborhoods where somebody could build. That,
Okay.
you know, we don't think about that. You know, if you're buying a used home, right? If you're buying just a pre-owned home as a
Right.
buyer, you can go to any realtor, any brokerage website. You can go to the multiple listing service. You can go and you can find everything. You
Yeah.
know, I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1.5-car garage, blah blah blah. You know, and it spits out everything.
Okay.
But when you're building a new home, it's an entirely different process. And for somebody who's building a new home, the first question is not, they don't start by going, well, what do we want to build? They generally have an idea already.
Right. So there's a different process entirely almost between buying a new home to build versus purchasing a home that's already in place.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And so, you know, if you're buying a pre-owned home, you can go look at the MLS, or you can look at any of the major portals and see everything in your area, or the area that you're looking at. But if you want to build a house, the first question that most people have is where.
Yeah.
You know, where
Location.
can we build? If I want to build a, you know, 3,000 square foot, I want a ranch, I want a walkout basement, I want a horse stable nearby, and I want a lake lot, and I want blah blah blah. Where do you find that? And then you need plat maps, and you need the HOA information, and you need the
Yeah.
covenants of the neighborhood, and you need all this stuff that's not readily available, and
I can see
it's
that.
not on the web. And but you know, when I got into this, what I started figuring out was, over a couple of years, you know, I had realtors that just kept bringing, hey, Ron, do you know about this one out in the county? And there's this one out in the woods, and there's this, you know, and I just kept finding more and more of them.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, this is crazy. And we spent about a year getting all this stuff put together for our area, because I
Yeah.
just felt like, to me, you know, something as complex as building a home, you know, a buyer wants to know their options.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if I'm buying a new
Of
car,
course.
I want to know my options, you know.
Absolutely.
But something, if I'm gonna build a house, I want to know my options. And so we pulled all this stuff together. I sat down one day. It took about a year to have this big notebook, you know, of every new home neighborhood. If it had one lot in it, it was in my notebook. And everybody was borrowing it. I mean, builders were borrowing it from me, realtors were borrowing it. I thought I was the only one that didn't know, you know. And I was the only one that didn't, you know, that was in the dark on this. But everybody started borrowing this notebook, and I was like, well, this is weird, you know, that and it, you know, started to dawn on me. Wait a second, the other realtors are coming to me for it.
Yeah.
That means we're all telling buyers wrong information about
That's
what their
right.
options are.
That's right.
And I sat down and looked one day, and looked at the multiple listing service in our area and compared, and it was like over 60% of the neighborhoods where somebody could build were not listed.
We're not listed. So
60%.
So step
Wow.
one is to help the home buyer identify optional locations, available locations.
Well, it starts with the where, you know, what are the places, because every neighborhood, right, has conformity rules.
Yeah.
So I can't build a $500,000 house in a $200,000 neighborhood, or vice versa.
I see where this is going already. Yep.
And so there needs to be a database to where somebody can go and say, hey, I want to spend 500,000. I want to live in a 15, 20 mile radius of some point on the map. You know, I'd like to have a neighborhood that's got a tennis court and a nature trail and a library nearby for the kids and a blah, blah, blah. And then, so with Hoodle, they can very quickly grab those and begin to save the ones that meet their criteria, and starts them in the process of really building their dream home.
That's it.
But
That's
Availability.
exactly what I need. I'm trying to
That's right.
build a dream home for me and my fiance, and I don't know where to start. All I know is I wanted to have a roof.
That's a good thing.
From what you're telling me, the way I can break it down and enter the information, that's exactly what somebody like me needs.
That's right. You're absolutely right. Yeah. So Sean, you looking to build a home in the near future. You don't,
Hmm.
so you and your fiance, you have an idea of what type home you'd like to build, but you don't know where the available
I don't know
lots
where.
are.
I know I don't want to an hour commute to work every day. That's about the only location requirements I have.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
But
know where
yeah,
I want my dream home to be.
see, for me, not knowing a whole ton of the purpose of Hoodle, I'm already grasping it for what you're seeing because I see the issue already. Yeah, like in me, I considered building outside the city of Atlanta as well a couple of years ago, and I can see that if the neighborhoods that she and I were going to pick out, we did not know. We considered buying just because I started to learn really quickly that locating lots to build would have been difficult. So we didn't even go there. We didn't even start looking to build because we just figured it'd be easier to find an option to buy.
Well,
Then it would have
that's
been
what happens. A lot of people, as much as they want to build, they end up going the other direction because it just seems too hard,
the
and it
complexity.
is.
So you're gonna
And
help. Yeah, you're gonna try to remove that complexity and help the home buy. Is there a percentage that you know of, like any data to support, say, how many people may be attempting to buy rather than build, even though build would be their number one choice, but they don't want to go through the process because it gets so complex?
yeah, this is really. I mean, this was pretty eye opening for me, Paul. It was, and Sean. We need to talk about that later, okay? Because I'd love to help you guys go through that process and kind of walk alongside of you with your struggles. That you face as a buyer. Most people don't
I take
realize that.
I take commissions anyway.
Thank you.
All right. But when we started getting into this, Paul, and I realized that at that point, once I had that notebook, it was like,
Yeah,
and 60% of the neighborhoods were missing on the MLS, and
right.
it was like this light bulb went off. It's like, well, shoot, that means that all the realtors are showing the buyers the wrong
Yeah.
options. But it wasn't just that. It goes deeper because about 75% of home builders have no web presence or very little
Ah,
web
you're,
presence.
you're right.
So
You're right.
not only can the buyer not find the neighborhoods, but they can't find most of the builders.
Yep.
And just because they don't have a big marketing budget or big web presence, they're still, these guys are very good builders. I mean, they're
Yeah.
beautiful builders. Maybe they only built 4 or 5 homes, but they deserve to be an option for the buyer, right?
Right.
So what happened was I realized pretty quick, man, this got to be a web thing, because everybody wanted to borrow that notebook, and I was not about to make 10 copies of it and try to
Yeah.
check them in and out.
Right. And then you would have
So,
trouble updating it. Obviously,
yeah,
every time
yeah.
something changed, you would have to notify everyone that you dished out. Otherwise, now they're off to giving off, incorrect information.
So we built the first version of Hoodle for our area, and just opened it up for our local area, and the Home Builders Association got a hold of us and said, hey, would you guys come and present this to the builders? A lot of builders were getting really interested in what we were doing, and they're starting to see, that there was some potential of this for adding value and helping them get in front of their target audience of buyers.
So that's what I was about to ask you. The ultimate benefit for the home builder is their prospective clients. This puts them directly in front of them.
Right smack dab in front of your buyers, where, on Hoodle, they can have their floor plans, their elevations, they can have photo galleries. There's unlimited amounts of photo galleries. We're getting ready to add in video. And basically it gives them, for the buyers, it becomes a one-stop shop. If you want to build a house, there's no other website where you can find all your options.
Right.
And really compare all your options.
Not all these options you're talking of now. I've never seen these options on any other website.
But for the builder, it gives them the ability to very quickly, very easily, it's very simple for them to do. It's like doing a Facebook page where they can create a full-blown showcase for their properties and what they offer, and have that right out in front of their target audience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
But when we we were invited to come share this with the builders, and I think there was about 50 builders that showed up that first time. That was the first time we went public with it, really.
Yeah.
And people, it was really interesting because I didn't really know exactly where it was going at that moment, but we got done and guys were going, hey, this is going to be the MLS for home building, or this is going to be the Airbnb for home building.
Right.
And I'm
Right.
like, oh yeah, right. And they called me the next morning, and the head of the HPA and said, hey, I don't know if you know this, but this is a problem in every city in the United States. And builders love this. They've never seen it before. And oh, by the way, hope you don't mind, but we've already introduced it to the National Association of Home Builders, and so that's kind of where it began. And
Yeah.
just started to grow from there.